Not sure what's the problem. We had to wait for the people to come back.
Yeah. We could do a silent live. Yeah, look, Asia said they hear us.
Cool.
Yeah, Josh. So, I mean, for the no audio, we could just.
No. Look, I seen Asia said she's hearing now.
Yeah, she said yes. She said she's hearing.
I don't know what's going on. They're fighting on the system, as all they say.
Yeah, swimming going on. Swimming and
So we are
swimming.
now tuning in. This is Chlorine Callaloo, episode number 18. Apparently, this evening, getting some technical difficulties here, but we're waiting for the viewers to come back. Always search for Trinbago Freestyles on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. Share the live again. I'm sorry about that, but you know how technology goes sometimes. So on camera, we have Joshua Changa and Baron Sam Lalsin. And they will continue with their coaches' conscience where we discussing toddler swimming. So, Rocky?
Right. Not sure how much you all missed. So just to give a little recap, we were discussing, I mean, Joshua, he's from RWB Aquastars. When the pools are open and when you're allowed to swim, they're situated at Center of Excellence Swimming Pool Complex. So we were talking about the importance of learning to swim and being able to survive in water. I mean, yes, we know of learn to swim, but sea babes, especially for babies, is a lot different. So we were discussing skills such as survival float, where you enable your child under 2 years to be able to get into that water to roll onto their back, or just to be able to function comfortably and not inhale or swallow water and lead to them going through the process, starting the process of drowning, right? I mean, yes, granted, we put all precautions in place as parents, right? But we were just discussing, all right, in the event of an accident, because that's really what it is, an accident, we can't foresee it, right? It's good to give your child the necessary skills and to equip them with the skills needed to save their own life until you can assist. Right, so Joshua, you were just speaking about as somebody who has passed through the ranks, and now you're back teaching from 6 months and up to, I mean, budding national swimmers. What do you see the importance? I mean, we try to get different perspectives on the importance of swimming for children. And I say children, I'm talking about 14 years and under, right? Where do you see the importance of it and how it molds the person you become?
As I was saying before, I don't know if much people heard from before. It's I would say from a personal perspective, it helps you keep focus. Mentally, it's a co-curricular activity that moves you, gives you discipline. A sense of purpose. Structure in your life, right? And going through the years, 13 plus years as a swimmer and now as a coach, you would try to see it more and you would try to instill it more in your kids. Tell them about where swimming can get you. The benefits of what swimming holds at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's what we try to stress on the program, right? But I want to get involved in the bacchanal. So before the bacchanal, right, I just have one more question. I mean, how do you feel, as we mentioned? We discussed how you felt being somebody who is full-time in swimming. A lot of persons involved in swimming are part-time, right? Or some persons may be retired, but you are full-time, so your livelihood depends on it, right? How do you feel as somebody who, I mean, this is your job. You now are unable to work because of certain restrictions placed on you. How do you feel seeing other similar sports, right? Coaches being able to go back out to work, yet you are still restricted. How do you feel about
that? It hurts. I would say it hurts personally because not only it is a job, it's a passion for me at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, I grew up around swimming. It hurts because not only is it, yes, they're talking about non-contact sports. We are definitely a non-contact sport. We could more than go out there and start back, whether it be especially competitive athletes. They are feeling it the most right now, especially. Everybody's going to be able to start back at zero once we get the okay to go back out.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Any words you would like to leave with persons? I mean, we thank you for being here, but in wrapping up, anything you'd like to, any suggestions to parents, to just any information, anything?
I would suggest that, keep active as much as possible. If you had to train at least 3-4 times for the week, I wouldn't say train every day or twice for the day. Getting a little run, a little walk, some push-ups, some sit-ups. Keep yourself active as much as possible, especially the competitive ones. Keep yourself in that form of readiness. We will get to go back out there and training will resume, and eventually we would have to venture back out into the competitive life internationally as well.
Thank you, Joshua. I see a while looking at the
Not a
like
problem.
this. Any closing words? Any questions for Joshua?
Yeah, I see he have a similar problem to all of us.
COVID hairstyles.
Let it grow.
Effects of the pandemic. Thank you very much, Joshua.
Not a problem. You all enjoy your night.
Thanks, Josh. So, we heard Joshua speak about passion, and so many coaches speak about passion and wanting to be back out there, right? And in this light, I'll touch on competitive swimming after, but I was just looking at some statistics of drowning, and even during COVID, right, we would have seen a spike in drowning incidents, right? So, like, if you look based on WHO's statistics, you see, estimated to be 2,000 annual drowning deaths worldwide, right? You would see they say, especially children under 14 is in the top 3 causes of their deaths, right? Based on CDC, they say 1 in every 5 persons every day, of the persons every day, is children under 14 years old, right? That dies from unintentional drownings, right? So I think us being focused on COVID as the only fatal aspect of our lives, we can see statistically that we need to focus on swimming. I mean, there are other non-contact sports. They have found a way to leave them liberated, so to speak, or give them a bit of wiggle room so they can play their sports within trust that they will do the right thing. Right? Yet we have a life skill, something that clearly you can die from. Right? So based on the numbers they were saying of persons, I mean, it's a longer time frame that drowning has been around. But they're saying a child 14 years old is more susceptible to drowning than to COVID. Granted, the issues with COVID are how contagious and rapidly spread it is. But I think we really need to hit the drawing boards again and see why swimming can continue. Because, for example, there are master swimmers. I mean, in flashback freestyles, Mr. Board is going to be on this evening, and I'm sure there are persons within his circle that would love to swim, and they use that as their only form of activity. Swimming is highly low impact. I mean, yes, the shoulders take a lot of beating, but compared to things like running and other activities, you can't do it. It is detrimental to your limbs, to your bones at certain ages with certain health restrictions. A lot of persons, myself included, based on my accident, I'm unable to go and run and stuff. So swimming is my only form of therapy and exercise, basically. Right? And I think, yes, I saw them. They sent out an article, and our national swimming body was in communication with sports, right? And they said they will now allow persons who have predictable competition or who are national teams to be able to go to the centers to swim. Right?
Okay. Just to give an update on, last week we spoke a bit about swimming and the whole regulations. Just want to give the update that they said their council members, Asatru Sport has made aggressive representation to the Ministry of Health as regards to exemptions for clubs to commence training. A comprehensive protocol guide was submitted to Sport for the Ministry of Health on our behalf. As indicated in the reply, the Ministry of Health is only prepared at this time to grant exemptions to swim clubs to recommence training only at the aquatic center under the supervision and protocols of sport, and only for athletes preparing for major regional and international competitions. The CMO has advised that this is part of a phased opening due to the high level of COVID contraction and is not prepared to have individual clubs and pools open for training at this time. The executive feels very disappointed with this reply and felt it necessary to bring clarity to council. We also wish to ensure clubs of our continued commitment to make the necessary representation to the relevant authorities to start our club's training again. And this was regards Joseph McLeod, first Vice President of ASA.
Right, so they can't, I'm sure they could find 5 persons around any government office who they could put as marshals at certain swimming pools from certain hours, right? All we ask is the opportunity to be able to follow the regulations and do this safely. Because, I mean, one of the major ways to avoid drowning is learning to swim, right? And like all other sports, who they are allowing to get back out there. Because, I mean, I will pass by Savannahs and see fitness groups training with no mask on, right? We are the mask.
Yeah, we have to find a way. The message is getting out. I did see a parent take up the mantle and do a survey and stuff with regard to the protection with regards to swimming, etc. So we hope that the authorities are listening and that we could get things moving sooner rather than later.
We want to swim.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see, I mean, the persons who are in support of this cause, the followers, the viewers, they all will spread the word. So it's nice to see that the petition was done, persons reached out, and we're hoping to get this situation.
Tune in probably tomorrow or the day after. We're not sure yet because from the program and from the petition as well, TV6 did reach out and there'll be a little piece probably tomorrow on that. So you can tune into TV6 News. Free plug for them. All right. Very much, Rocky. We're getting ready to go straight into our flashback freestyle segment. So as you all know, during the course of the last 2 weeks, we have been featuring persons from the open water, our past open water winners. And on the screen, we have one of our past open water winners, Mr. Gordon Board. Good evening, Mr. Board.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, Mr. Board. Now, I don't know if you lied to me because I saw that you're 82 years old. Are you lying?
Yeah, that's correct.
82 years old, and I'm sure you would have heard, before we get into your career and your different contributions to the sport, I'm sure you would have heard some of the earlier discourse. And I mean, I know one of the things when we're talking, you say that swimming has contributed to your health. And how have you been throughout this whole this COVID time where you haven't been able to train as you're accustomed to? You told me how many thousands of meters you do a week. How has it been for you? And what would you like to see coming out of this?
Yeah, it has been very, very hard, not being able to swim because I normally go to the St. Mary's pool 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and swim like 2,000 meters at a time. And on Sundays, we go to Maracas at 7:30, and we swim approximately 3,000 meters. So this has been very difficult for me and all the other masters.
What would you like? I know there have been some calls. I know open water is part of your thing. What would you like from the What would you like from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the authorities, with regards to allowing at least open water swimming?
Well, what I would really like to suggest that they look at is to have swimming, at say 4 particular places in Trinidad, open the beaches, right? And you can go up to Maracas with 5 as the limit in a little group, and you can swim. But you're going on to the beach, you could use your mask up to then you go and swim, and when you get out, you leave in your car right away. This would help not only with the swimmers, but other people who would like to carry up, the children and so on, who haven't gone to the sea and so on for the last 5 or 6 months. It is a healthy thing, the sun and the salt and everything.
So, Gordon Board, masters over 100 open water swims. Your advice to the government is to have a regulated opening of the beaches.
Oh yes, definitely. And what they could do, have it between 6 and 9, and they could have marshals at the particular beaches, the chosen beaches. Let's say in Trinidad, you could have, let's say, 4 beaches, one in south, one in east, one in north, one in west and east. And then you could have marshals to ensure that the people, in other words, do not, not more than, say, 5 in a group. They go into the water, as I said, bathe and swim and exercise, and then they can leave right after. This is between, let's say, 6 and 9 o'clock in the morning.
So there you have it, Mr. Borden. Open water went 1962 to 64, recommending a regulated opening to the beaches. So let's go into your open water swimming. So for the past 2 weeks, we had Camille Richards last week. Tell us about those wins in 1962 to 1964, winning the Cross Harbor race 3 years straight.
Right. Well, the Cross Harbor race was first introduced by Assad in 1962. That race had only 17 swimmers, and it was from the 5 islands across to the Caranage Jetty, a distance of 2,300 meters. They only had 17 competitors. Those days, you know, we have a lot of what they call pool swimming. So as a result, the only swim we'll have once a year is the competition of the open water.
Right. So you remember that first win that the 1962 race? You remember that?
Cannot forget it.
You what?
I cannot forget that race. Yes.
Tell us something. I mean, that was Independence Day. Tell us something about it.
Well, the point is, I mean, they had most people at that time, they mostly played water polo, right? We didn't have the access to go into pools and train and so on. The only pool was available was Mount St. Benedict, and that's when we were preparing to go possibly to Barbados or Jamaica or so on a tournament.
All right, so I mean, open water was the option at the point in time.
Yeah, definitely. You see, at that time, Assad comprised 12 clubs. 2 of them were swimming clubs, which was Marlins and Blue Dolphins, and all the rest were what are called water polo clubs, right? So the emphasis was there water polo, not swimming.
So back then, I mean, so you represented Trinidad and Tobago in swimming and water polo, correct?
Yes, definitely, yeah. So whenever we had a tour, we went to Barbados or Jamaica, as the case may be, I would be put to play water polo and also swim the events that they had between jetties, like in Barbados. They didn't have a pool at the time. Right. So we swim between jetties, you know, 50 meters, and we swim like 100 meters or 50 meters or 1,500 meters. So that was the type of thing that we went through in those days until pools became available.
I mean, you started, what year you said you started, what age you started to swim at?
I started to swim actually when I swam, well, my first thing is I got into swimming through the Sea Scouts in Fatima College. And the emphasis was on Sea Scouts, as you know, you go to the sea. And then they will have a competition like once a year for the Morrison Trophy. And I swam in that. I was like 16 years old. It was an age group between 16 and 18. And I won the 100 meters in 1955. And then in 1956, I repeated. That sort of got me into swimming, and I continued there, played water polo, and then actually the first big swim from the 5 islands, I was 22 at the time. And I won the race, and then for the other 2 years, 1962, 63, and 64, yeah.
So yes, if you're now tuning in, this is Gordon Borden screen, winner of the Cross Harbor Swim from 1962 to 1964. But Gordon, you also told me that you just didn't compete in Trinidad and Tobago. You competed across the region internationally. Tell us a little bit about your exposure there.
Well, in 1965, they had the Pepsi Cola International race in Barbados. It was 11 miles. So I saw them in that race, and they had swimmers from all parts of the world, England and the States. And in that race, I came 5th overall. So that was one of my first international races, 1965, the Pepsi Cola International in Barbados.
Yeah, right, and I know you did swim in a 5-mile race in
Yes, in Venezuela, in Valencia, but that was quite a long time afterwards. And I went across there with my son Richard. He also came with me in the race. And you had to go to a small island, like the 5 islands. You swim 2.5 miles, you go to the island, and then you swim back to the point on Valencia Beach. And I won in my age group then. I think I was 45 to 49. And we had a lovely weekend. Yeah, they had 511 swimmers at the time.
So let's come forward a little bit. You swam age group swimming, more or less. You continued with open water, and then in '85, I believe, you did the first FINA World Masters.
Yes, that was in Canada. It was the first FINA World. I went with Joey Kaufman, and the other part of the group was, fellows like Chris Gibbs and 4 other fellows from Barbados. So we went across to this first World Masters. And Joey Kaufman in the 50 meters backstroke in his age group, which was 50 to 54, he placed 3rd. And I was swimming in the 45 to 49 age group. And I swam the 200 meters in the final, and I got a 4th place.
And how you feel to see, more and more people taking part in the Masters competition? Just more people have gone to World Masters recently. They went Budapest, etc. How you feel about that?
Well, I feel very, very good about it that, we started off then and it has become very popular. Over the world, they have like 3,000 what you call open water swims all over the world. It's so popular now. And I enjoy open water swimming. It's not that I don't like the pool, but open water swimming is something different. We have a masters group that go to Maracas every Sunday morning for the last 21 years. And we swim a total of 3,000 meters. We start at the lifeguard booth, and we swim down to Tyrico Bay, then back up to the fishing village and back, a total of 3,000 meters. And then we have a bacon shark after.
You must have that bacon shark after
Yeah.
that. So the Maracas Open now, as it is now, it's a race that has evolved. Sometimes we change the distance, has been 2,650 to 3,000, right, meters generally. And then afterwards, we added 1,000 meter, we added the 5,000 meter as well. How have you felt with the development of the Maracas Open Water Classic?
Well, I feel really and truly very good about it. Really and truly, when it's from the 5 islands, I'll just go back a little bit in history. From 1962, it stopped in 1973, coming over to the Carolina's Jetty. Then they had it along from the Deans Bay in Point Comana down to the Yachting Association until 1996. After that, we took it up. I was part of the committee then. We took it up to Maracas, where we have a lot of viewers and so on. And the sea up there was better at the time,
Right.
because the waters down in Chagaramas was becoming polluted. And we took it up to Maracas. What evolved from it, not only they had masters, not masters, but a swimming race, but we had what they call the kids race up to 12 years.
Yeah.
And that was from the fishing village down to the lifeguard booth, which
Right.
was 800 yards. That when we first started in 1997 with that, we only had 4 swimmers. I think not 2 years ago, 2018, they had 127 youngsters. And the other part where they had the open water with the senior people, that was they had like different distances to encourage more people to swim, and it came up to a total of 411 swimmers. And I felt very, very good about it that open water swimming has evolved so.
And it's one of our few events that still has a, well, we're not sure it'll happen, but still has a title sponsor. Subway has supported the event. I know Hyundai supported in the past as well.
Yeah, well, Hyundai supported it for 15 years, and then Subway came on a few years ago, and we are thankful for them. And it is one of the popular races, you know, that so many of us, person who swims in the pool, they still enjoy coming to swim the open water, and it has really and truly got very popular, you know.
So a question here. So we have had 2018 and 2019. We have had, sorry, 2019, 2018. It's always been affected by weather. It was cancelled in 2019, but 2018 too, it was affected by weather. Should we continue with the Maracas Open at the time we have it?
If we should continue with it?
Continue with it at the time we have it in September. Should we continue with that?
Well, it was always September, but unfortunately for the last 2 years, the weather was not up to mark. And you know what it is, FINA rules is if it becomes dangerous, you should not put on a race. If it could be, you know, bad for the swimmers and so on, and dangerous, you must cancel the race. So I think they did the right thing to cancel it. But that's what's happened. Open water swimming is what you meet on the particular day.
Right, so it's what you meet on a particular day. But how I mean, now we're missing 2018 had some weather, 2019 was cancelled, 2020 cancelled as well. How has it been for the Masters swimmers with all these cancellations with one of the events that you're all sure to take part in?
Well, we are missing it, but we understand the situation with the virus. There's nothing anybody could do about it. Just like the pool swimmers and so on, we have to wait until it is better that we can partake in it, you know.
You also have served not only as an athlete, but you also served as you worked on several of the open water committees preparation for the race, regardless of if you were on the executive or not. And you also served on the executive of ASAT as well. Why did you really need to continue not only to compete in the water, but to contribute in the administration part of it?
You mean why I continue?
Correct. Why did you continue? Why did you not stay as a swimmer? And why did you choose to continue to help in the administration of the sport?
Well, I love the open water swimming and I want to see it move forward, right, as best as possible. As I tell you right now, throughout the world, I was reading about it, they have 3,000 races that are put on worldwide every year. So open water swimming is becoming more and more popular. And we have a group, I mean, that's the Masters alone. You know, we must have, on a Sunday, we have like 30 swimmers who will come up there and swim on a Sunday. They like open water swimming. And I know that quite a lot of the, what you call it, the competitive youngsters, they enjoy coming to swim the open water. This year, unfortunately, unless something happens between now and, say, the end of the year, we would not be able to put it on. But I was instrumental because of my knowledge and so on in open water swimming, and also arranging the different swims that they always ask my opinion, and I'm grateful to be assistant to the Swimming Association.
So let me ask you a question. Who's the best open water swimmer this country has ever had so far, in your opinion?
Oh, definitely. Jerry Rodriguez is the best open water swimmer I think Trinidad has ever produced. And he's considered in the world as one of the best open water swimmers. Not only that, his knowledge of open water swimming. I remember when I went to the World Conference in Cancun in 2010, but he was a major speaker, an open water speaker, on open water swimming. And they had 247 countries attending, and they chose Jerry Rodriguez to speak at the conference as the major speaker.
Yeah, we had Jerry on a few weeks ago, and the man, somebody pool swimming now. I mean, as somebody who has been around for a while, you would have seen different athletes. Who you think is our greatest athlete swimmer?
Well, I definitely George Bovell. His achievement, when you come third in the Olympics, you come third in the world, right? So I consider him as our best so far. I know Dylan Carter is following in his footsteps, and I hope he does well at the next Olympics. I don't know when it's going to take place, but he is really a talented swimmer.
So we have a lot of talent still resident.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Trinidad has plenty talent, plenty talent.
What would you say to persons to encourage them to get involved in open water swimming, to take up the open water challenge?
Well, you know, a lot of people they swim shorter distances and they like it 100 meters and so on. But I must say, in Trinidad, when I look at the swimmers that in other words, who go to open water swimming, I don't know if the coaches encourage them only in shorter distances, but we have very few open water. Pool swimmers that swim, let's say, the 800 and the 1500 meters. I feel we should have more people concentrating on that because we have a lot of talented swimmers.
Yeah, and I know, I believe Jada Chatur went Panama a few years ago as well. So, I mean, we have been seeing more persons take up the whole open water challenge.
Yes.
Any message, any final message that you would have for Trinidad and Tobago in general, to aquatics in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, the first thing I really like to see them capture is to capture the history of swimming in Trinidad and Tobago. This year happens to be the 70th anniversary of ASAT. ASAT was formed in 1950, and I would really and truly like to see the Swimming Association. I would greatly like to help also to generate a book on swimming that the youngsters could look back on and see, you know, who has achieved certain things over the years and how ASAT has evolved into a good association. It's now 70 years, so this is something I would like to bring up with the president and the administration. I'll offer my help also on it.
All right, so you would like, yes, when we're having a conversation, you are the one who actually informed me that this year, you said ASAT celebrated 70 years, correct?
Yeah, but they haven't celebrated it, but they have achieved 70 years so far. Yeah.
We should have celebrated 70 years. And
yeah, this year, yes.
Sometimes a lot of these things get overlooked, and you're right. I think, and hopefully the powers that be are listening and take you up on that offer to help to, you know, rebuild that history of the association.
And what happened is, 20 years ago, we started to do it, and Joey Kaufman was one of the people who was assisting and moving Marquis. Both of them have passed, unfortunately. And we have a certain amount of the information already available. And if we could get a team, you know, together and put it, and we do a proper history of swimming, I think that would be something very good, not only for us now, but for the youth that will come along. I know Barbados, when 20 years ago, they did it, and they were, the association was formed in 1949, and our own was in 1950. So we missed it after the 50 years, but 70 years is on us now, and I think we should get go ahead and do something about it, you know?
All right, so that is Gordon Board. He's 1962 to 1964 open water winner, a former swimmer, a former water polo player, but not a former swimmer, he's still a swimmer. He's still going strong at 82 years old. Yes, don't adjust your camera. He is 82 years old. And I want to thank you really and truly for your contribution to Trinidad and Tobago, all aspects of the administration, open water, swimming. I mean, you always excite open water, bring a lot of energy to the open water. Everybody always looking forward to see when I'm going to come out the water. Thank you very much for your contribution to Trinidad and Tobago swimming. And anything you want to leave with, or?
Well, I wish the swimming fraternity all the best, and my recommendations I just told you. I would really like to see if the government could give the opportunity, on special days, special beaches, not only beaches in Trinidad, perhaps 4 and perhaps 2 in Tobago, that they could go from 6 until 9 and have marshals to ensure that they leave the beach, right? And they don't have more than 5 people being around at the same time. I really like that to be done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Board. I just want to remind, we need to respect the history of the sport and persons who contributed to the development of the sport. I've seen some comments here asking for some kind of recognition from Mr. Board, but I know Mr. Board continues to do things because he loves doing it, and I hope people will take into consideration, making sure we honor our. Thank you very much, Mr. Board.
Thank you, Jason, for the opportunity to appear tonight. Thanks.
No problem. And we'll go straight into our mental massage.
Parents, this is just for you because your voice matters. Hi, my name is Salian Barrett Buffon, founder of Stratosa Coaching and Consulting Limited. Now, communication can be one of the biggest challenges many of us face. And believe you me, I completely understand. Many years ago, I did not think I had a voice. I did not think that my voice was important. Simply put, I didn't think that anything I had to say was important. But that was only negative thinking. I know some of you all may be thinking, Sally, you really don't understand what we are going through. We have family members involved. When we have our swim meets, we have emotions. We are fearful, we are intimidated. We're not sure what the outcome would be. Guess what? When you choose to remain silent and go with the flow, it can cost you. It can cost you your life. It can cost you your career. It can even cost you your relationship. Now you need to ask yourself, what are you willing to risk? So I want to share some quick tips with you that can help if you are experiencing these challenges where you don't have a voice. Follow these quick tips, and once you take action, it can help you overcome your challenge. You can begin by believing in yourself. Yes, believing in yourself, your gifts, your skills, your talents. Give yourself permission. And I'll say this again. Give yourself permission to share your knowledge with others. Allow them to know what you know. Share your knowledge and skills. Don't be afraid. But whatever you are sharing, make sure that you have supporting evidence to back up what you are sharing. That is important. Stretch your thinking. Go outside of your expertise. I did. Become curious. Great leaders ask great questions, and there's value. Said that when you only get the answers to the questions that you ask. If you don't ask the question, then you won't get the answer. Remove negative thinking and shake off the intimidation. Shake off the hesitation. Do not allow yourself to become intimidated by those who you think are senior to you. Don't. See yourself as being equal to them. Now, I hope these quick tips can help you as you move forward and work towards overcoming your challenges. And just before I end, I want to share 3 quick quotes with you. The first one is from James Humes, and he said that the art of communication is the language of leadership. James Cash Penny stated, the art of effective listening is essential to clear communication, and clear communication is necessary to the management of success. And this is my favorite. Half of the world is composed of people who have something to say and can't, and the other half who have nothing to say and keep on saying it, by Robert Frost. Do you want to be? Which half of the world do you want to be? Do you even want to be part of that world? Now, speaking up is never easy, and I understand. But if you really want to change, take action, follow those quick tips, and you can start working towards overcoming your challenges. Thank you for joining us on Mental Massage. I am Salyan Barad-Bufang from Stratosa Coaching and Consulting. Thank you.
How much did Cindy cook for you?
Well,
All right, Cindy, okay, you can stop. You can stop. You can.
Before I go, I want you all to remember that the only stroke to use with toast bread is the butterfly. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Woo! Are you all hearing me? Let's do a sound check because I know we had some issues earlier. Are you guys hearing? Yes? Let's do that before I get into it because tonight is parents' night and I don't want you to miss anything. You all hearing? Say yes, but yes in the comments if you're hearing. Yeah? Okay. Yes, you all are hearing. So welcome to Callaloo Cook Up. I am your sous chef, Cindy Ann, and you know what that means, sous chef. If I cook for you, there will be a lawsuit. So I just want to say to Gordon Board, wow, 2,000 to 3,000 meters at 82 years old. I mean, not that I'm trying to be competitive, but I actually do 2,000 to 3,000 liters. If you know what I mean. Very, very similar, comparable. And then I have my bacon shack during, so like 1,000 liters, and then a bacon shack, and then 1,000 more liters. So we're kind of similar, you know? So, yeah. So welcome. Tonight is Parents' Night, and I have joining me 3 swim parents. I don't know if they're up. Well, they should be. They should have some energy because swimming is down, so they're resting up and ready. I have tonight Bruce from Blackman, Elliot, Ash, and Amanda. Hi, guys and girls.
hi, how are you doing?
How are you all?
Hi, Elliot. Hi, Amanda.
Hey, hello Bertram, how are you doing?
No, this
Pretty good. What's up with you guys?
this is an
Hey,
difficult
it's a bit of after such a long time.
what Bertram and Elliot catching on, so let's give them a couple seconds. Are you finished? Yeah.
You change your hair?
Okay, so let's get into it. So everybody is good. So tell me, we're going to talk a little bit about swimming and how long you've been swimming and you know how you feel about the association, and we're going to touch on a couple of things tonight, you know, a few things. So Elliot, I want to start with you tonight. Yeah. Tell me, what were your expectations when you started your child in swimming? What were your expectations and how has the reality differed?
Well, you have two aspects to swimming for me. One is the original intention, which was to just let the children and then be able to be functional in the water.
Okay.
Because we're living on an island, and therefore it is important for you to be able to swim. So that was the starting point in terms of us participating in swimming. So we started there, and after some time, um, we kind of reached a plateau in terms of where we were, in terms of the first club that we were swimming with, and we were looking for something else, and that's how it is that we joined up with another club, and from that experience we became competitive, and that's when the
So you didn't go
competitive
into
journey
it.
started.
You didn't go into it
That
expecting to even cross over into competition. You really just wanted you just wanted them to be able to
No.
function in the water, and that's it. But then you fell in love with it and was like, all right, we're going to compete.
Well, the how it actually panned out is that when we started at the other club, um, we people started to recognize that, oh, you might have something here. I really didn't take them on because I didn't think that that was where I wanted to place my focus. So I kind of let it go for a little while until eventually it became very obvious. So, that kind of feedback made me
Okay.
sit up and pay attention. And, at that time, that's where
All
the
right.
actual
So
transition point came from,
I want to cut you because
just
what I wanted to get is what expectations versus reality. So you expected to go in, have your kid learn to swim, and then get out. But that did not happen. So now you have transitioned into the competitive arena, which is far different, correct? Yeah.
yes, sorry.
No,
Repeat
what
the
I was
question
asking
again.
is expectation versus reality. So I'm saying, based on what you just said, based on how you explained and whatever, you went in just to learn to swim. But now you enter the competitive arena. So your expectation and reality have differed because you just thought, well, we learn to swim and then be on our way and maybe swim 3,000 meters a weekend or whatever, but that's not the case. So you have now fallen deeply in love with the sport and come ready to compete. And that has changed, correct? Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So that
basically, yeah.
sounds good. That sounds good. So I'm gonna ask Bertram. Bertram. So I was reading an article in Swim Swam, which is a swim magazine,
Hey,
you know? Hello? Yeah. And they were saying it was saying that the anxiety we feel as parents about the swimmer's performance, and it kind of trickles down to them in terms of how stressed and anxious they get. How have you managed your anxiety and stress so that it doesn't really affect your swimmer? Have you been able to?
I mean that. Yeah, I mean that's a good question, and I would tell you that I have been. It's a work in progress. But one of the things that I was able to do is that I was able, while Nikolai was at the pool, that I also found myself in other directions around the pool deck and stuff like that. So as opposed to sitting down in the stand and becoming one of those coaches, what I actually became was a cheerleader. So while we had other stuff going on in the pool, I got involved in officiating. I got involved in putting up the equipment. I got involved in other aspects of things pertaining to the pool. So that distressed me. So I didn't, but that kind of helped me kind of flow with what's going on. So at the end of the day, I remember this story, like my coach said to me earlier on, where he said that a swimmer takes like about Maurice Faria, and he said a swimmer takes about 15 to 16 years to create one. So I think in going into the swimming, that I knew from the get-go that this is going to take a very long time. So in terms of the anxiety and the stress, I went in there pretty cool in the initial stages and taking myself.
Okay, nice, nice. Just excuse 1 minute. Just have to charge my laptop. It's there. Please, my charger. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so you were able to manage it better, yes. Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Bertram? Hello?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And how has your reality? Yeah. How has your reality? Oh, he's gone? Okay.
He probably fell off.
Okay.
Probably come back.
So, Amanda, I come to you. How are you? I'm not hearing Amanda. Hi. Are you hearing me, Amanda? Because I'm not hearing you at all. Are you hearing her, Elliot?
No, I'm not hearing her either.
Elliot, that leaves both of us. It's just us. Parents' night, just kind of typical parents' nights. 2 parents fall asleep already. You know, this is the typical parent night.
But I asked you what you put in your brew.
So listen to me, Elliot. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Bertram. How have you been able to manage the stress? Because, like I said, the article is saying that we pass down all our stress and anxiety. It trickles down to our kids. And if we don't manage it, we see it. It manifests itself in them. How have you been able to manage that?
Well, the stress has not necessarily translate into frenetic activity on in the household. What it is that when the discovery was made in terms of what my daughter was able to do, that was a defining moment for her in terms of discovering that she had some talents that she wasn't aware of before. So that planted a seed that has been serving as a motivation for her.
Okay, so let me interject because I don't want you to go down. I'm asking about you and how you have managed the stress level and how has that coping mechanism so that you have not affected her. So I'm not dealing with her. I'm talking about as a parent, you know, because because my son used to swim and I used to be, anxious and stressed before I swim meet. I not sleeping, he knockout. I sitting in the stands biting my nails, you know, but trying not for him to see that anxiety level, kind of like SEA, because you know what I mean? We get worked up. How have you, so I'm asking you, what do you use to manage that anxiety and stress? And if you think you've been successful doing it.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Are you hearing me?
Yes. You're back.
I'm back on? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you see, what I wanted to show you was that there are 2 factors that are working inside of that. One is that the extent to which it is that she's self-motivated, and therefore the kind of input that is required from me as it relates to managing the anxieties when race they come, so that we don't have a huge buildup of stress, if you were to put it in that context, other than
that's really good.
Because you see, her position, she was when she started, she didn't start out in front.
So I think let me ask Amanda the same question, because I feel, let me see if Amanda is on, maybe it's a male-female thing, Amanda, let's get into it. Because, so I'm gonna ask you, reality versus expectations. Because when you started swimming, what did you expect and what has the reality been?
Well, for me, a pleasant good night to your viewing and listening audience. And it's so nice to see parents, and I really want to applaud Jason for this initiative.
Thank you.
But for me, when swimming started with my son, it was all fun. It was really about fun. And why fun was because I realized that birthday parties went from piñatas and musical chairs to pool parties. So I had to find that medium to get out there and start my son in a swim program. And it started very simple: learn to swim, summer camp, primary school involvement, and it just evolved into him liking the sport. And liking the sport because from the get-go there was no pressure, and the no pressure was really because of the fact that I told him, I said, listen, this is all about fun. You enjoy it, you make the best out of this opportunity. If this is the sport that you like, mom and dad are supporting you all the way. Win, lose or draw, we are there with you, and it's all about family engagement. It has really become now a financial investment. So the conversations have kind of changed a bit. Okay, well, we have invested 10 years. So let's have some different conversations.
10 years, $10 million. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. So that has changed. Your expectation in reality has changed. Yeah.
So I thought he wouldn't stay in it because as a family, actually, while I was a swimmer, but we started off a family activity playing lawn tennis. And he really was passionate about lawn tennis. So when he decided to go the way of swimming, I said, well, okay, well, that's a natural call and not a push that you had to pick swimming because mom swam.
Right. And so tell me, I'm going to ask you the same question about stress and how do you, because like I explained, I was reading this article and in Swim Swam, and they were talking about how our anxiety levels, how it trickles down to the kids, our stress. And so how have you been able to manage that so it doesn't affect is a son?
Yeah.
Yeah. How have you think you've been successful?
I have been very successful because first of all, my son has his name, I have my name. And I don't live through my son's winnings. And when I say so, it's almost on the verge of, you know what, Jordan, we are here to encourage, to motivate, to provide, to mentor, to ensure that you have what you need. And again, I don't want you to feel pressured. Any point in time you feel as though, mom and dad, I really don't want to continue in the sport, let's have that conversation. So we always spoke about that in the house. So to feel that sense of pressure, I really, there would be times when we know, and he knew too, that he could have done better. And we have those conversations, wow, Jordan, you could have done much better. So I can't really say that I pressurize, I encourage, I force when I have to, but I really don't put that type of pressure because of the fact that I believe in the holistic individual. And there was a life before swimming, during swimming, and certainly after swimming.
So you've never left a swim meet with a rotator cuff injury, like you have the rotator cuff injury because in the stand you have actually done a 400 fly or medley yourself. Just me.
Actually, in my son's 10 years of swimming, to my knowledge, my son has never suffered. Let me knock wood and lock it.
Listen what I'm asking. I'm asking if you have never left a swim meet as a parent. Your son is swimming a race. Let's say he's doing 100 fly. And you are sitting in the stand, but you are actually doing the motions of the fly. And then by the time you get home, you now have a rotator cuff injury. No, you don't feel that kind of anxiety or stress.
Well, actually, we have that connectivity in the water because once he finishes a race, he looks up in the stand and I see that smile, then we're connected. I don't have to wait till I reach home to feel anything. We feel it in the present.
Not a kind of stress. All right, okay. I hear you. So I'm gonna
maybe it's a mommy thing.
Let me ask you this, Amanda, because in life, generally, life is busy for us as adults, for us as parents. So you have morning training, you have work, you have life, you have everything. You have to volunteer at the pool. You have to. Do you think it's important to volunteer? Do you volunteer? I mean,
Most
in the midst
definitely.
of all your life going on, do you volunteer?
Most definite. Volunteerism is the order of the day. I almost deal with it similar to how I deal with school. School is a holistic, it's a wheel between the child, the school, and the teacher. So to me, swimming is the same thing. The parent, the coach, the swimmer, and the volunteerism is really, as Bertram rightfully said, I mean, the involvement of all the activities, whether it's around the pool, whether it's in some type of charitable fundraiser. But I think it's really about participation. So yeah,
I
would
one of those parents that when the meet starts, they have to, and they page, and we need more volunteers. You are not one of those parents who run out to your car to check to see if your window down and then disappear for 2 hours. That's not Amanda.
That's not Amanda.
I like that. Bertram, talk to me. How do you feel? Because in the midst of your life, of work, of family activities, you have training, everything that's going on, and then there's volunteering for meets, whether it's club meets or at the association level. Do you volunteer, and do you see the importance of it? How important is volunteering to you?
Critical element in terms of development in swimming, especially for your kid or your son or your daughter at the pool. I'm one of them who believe in team. Together we all achieved. So in relation to swimming and stuff like that, for those parents and them who are involved in this is something that you need to get involved with. You need to put on. Your kid is there. You need to invest some time, and while you're there, do some work. It also helps de-stress you and stuff like that.
Okay. So did I ask you the question about stress, as you mentioned stress? Because I don't know if we've been in and out. I'm trying to remember, where were you at with this? Did I ask you how you balance your stress levels or that anxiety level, or if you just cool and
So because of being an official, you are kind of trained where it is that you have to be at the deck and you're not supposed to really show emotion and stuff like that. So I'm one of those who will see all of that going on, but inside it's like fireworks going off, especially when I'm seeing my son swimming in the pool. But because of the aspect of the job that I have on the deck, that I have to look like, oh, I'm super cool and stuff like that. But I mean, it does affect you. It does go off when they're focusing and, oh God, swim. But you look so cool and nice because the fact that you can't do that, and because of that, you kind of like get into this routine where you don't really show it.
So are you a timekeeper that even if you are in lane 6?
That you do all these.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, because we have a little delay. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Second.
No, I was about to ask, but I think there was a bit of a delay.
Okay, no, you go ahead. That's right. You go ahead.
I was asking, if you are a timekeeper, if you are in lane 6 and your child is in lane 8, do you press the stopwatch for your son or for the lane that you are actually timekeeping in? Which one?
I'm very focused at that point. I'm not professional. Okay, I press the lane that I'm working in.
I like that. Elliot, back to you. Tell me, in this whole swim community and stuff, what do you feel like? Do you feel like a pawn? Do you feel like a prince? Do you feel like a partner? Where do you see Elliot fitting into this whole association and this community?
The whole association.
The whole community, the community of swimming, because you belong to a community.
Well, we are in a community indeed, but inside of, I mean, parents. I mean, maybe I should put my little caveat inside of this. I mean, unlike Bertram and Amanda, I am a newbie on the scene. So, you know,
well then forget it. I'll talk to you last. You have nothing to say. You know, come.
I kind of knew. You know, I mean, so my experiences and so forth.
So for now, you're feeling like a prince because you knew you feeling like a prince.
Well, I mean, we now started, and we are able to participate because my daughter has done well.
Okay.
So that has you know, been a great encouragement in terms of the motivation, and also in terms of, well, you know that you have to work hard in order to be able to achieve what you have to achieve. So, you know, that comes with a sufficient amount of and the regular stress that everybody will experience, you know, who would like to stay on top of the game.
Right.
I mean, in terms of the community, well, we do have some challenges inside of that because, you know,
I don't want you to tell me.
in
We.
a
I don't
real,
want you to tell me.
if I had,
Elliot,
if
I want you to talk to me about you. So don't tell me we have some challenges.
yeah, but
Listen to my question. How do you feel, Elliot Ash?
But I'm going to tell you.
I don't want to hear about we and them. I'll talk to Amanda and Bertram after. Tell me about Elliot. How does Elliot feel in this community? Do you feel like you're part of a community? You feel like you really don't know what's going on? You feel like everybody kind of comes to you and you feel appreciated? Or how do you feel? You feel like swimming is a real nice, chill. You feel like, okay, I'm part of something that's going on here. Tell me, how does Elliot feel?
I feel in as in the community, well, you don't really have that kind of togetherness inside of the community.
Okay.
Inside of your particular space where you exist in terms of the club,
right,
you would probably have a greater amount of you know, bonding, or, you know, to what extent that is possible, because, you know, the community as it is right now is not the most coherent community.
Okay, so you feel that
it's not so that, you know, you have that kind of situation working itself out, and, you know, people inside of it really have some strong views, you know, either to the extreme right or to the extreme left.
All
and
right.
Therefore, you know, so it's
Let me bring
kinda...
it back to you then. So I'm going to bring it back to you, and I'm going to ask you, because there was they recently sent out the Constitution, like an amendment to the Constitution and stuff like that. Are you aware of that? Have you seen it?
Well, I got a copy of that Constitution today.
Huh?
I got a copy of that Constitution today because I was going on, and it's like, what? So,
okay,
I mean, I really...
So let's forget the contents of the Constitution. We're not going to discuss that. I want you to tell me. Let's just say you did not see the Constitution. You haven't seen anything, blah, blah, blah. What would you have liked to see in the Constitution, covered in the Constitution? What do you think it should address? Or hope that it addresses? Forget it.
Well, the making of a constitution has to be very consultative, and from the perspective in terms of a parent, knowing that we have faced or are facing so many particular challenges, it would be, in my mind, be very beholden, I would say. I mean, it may not be their responsibility or obligation, but given it is that the parents have a very serious investment in terms of what happens inside of swimming, that somehow or the other that the parents are consulted as far as it relates to the process of creating whatever, you know, they would like to put inside of the Constitution.
Okay. So you think parents should be a little more involved? Should be definitely be involved in the Constitution in terms of when they're putting it together, and parents should have some say. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I like that. Agreed. Amanda, how do you feel in the community? Please tell me if you feel like a princess, you feel like a partner, you feel like a pawn. How do you feel?
I would say definitely a partner. I mean, this is about collaboration and partnership. There's no two ways about it. I mean, as it relates to the Constitution, I mean, personally speaking, I would even love to have a copy of the Constitution. I don't have one.
Right.
So to me, I mean, if you start from us being onboarded or being enrolled into the federation, the association, to me, I think that that's a starting point where we should all be given the rules, the regulations, a copy of the constitution, so we know as parents, you know, where how could we measure? What do we measure on? How could we have conversations? I mean, you know, at the general meeting forum, you know, how can we, how do you measure somebody if you don't have a copy of what is in the constitution? How do you make a case if you don't know what is in the constitution?
Right.
So unless we have that viewing or that type of collaboration, it's like the parents kind of thinking one way, and you know, we could be arguing a point that the rules and regulations are in the constitution, but we don't see it, we don't have it. So
you have it.
I can't speak about what I don't see.
Right. Right. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Bertram, same question. Two questions.
I haven't had a word. I haven't heard a word on this. Okay. Yeah. I think I haven't heard a word Amanda have said.
Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. That's okay. No, we hear you. She didn't say anything. She didn't say. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right.
Well done. So, same question to you.
Yeah. I would say a partner, and the reason for that is that, again, I would have said along the road of Nicola getting involved in swimming, I said that, you know, that I went ahead and kind of learned how to do the timing system, how to do officiating, and I found myself in several different areas in swimming. And you know, so that I got the knowledge as the background information as to how swimming will function and different aspects of swimming. So I kind of feel like a partner because of the fact that I come to the table now with a little more knowledge where I could, you know, with my skills in certain areas, walking into it. So I'm saying that if it is that you're involved in swimming, coming back to the same point, if you're involved in swimming, that is necessary to get this product, what we have here, better. They need some involvement.
Okay. Okay. So I think we get
system. They don't wait for somebody to change it. You get
so generally
and you help change.
I'm so sorry, Bertram, because I know there's a little delay, and so I seem to be cutting you off sometimes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, so far, everyone kind of thinks that the Constitution, parents need to be, first of all, more involved in the formation of the Constitution. So that's the first step, and then we'll take it further. So somehow, and we'll get to something about that shortly. But I want to ask Elliot, in terms of, we're going to talk a little bit about funding and you know, what practices in terms of money and expenses and stuff like that, because we have a situation in this program. People mentioned, you know, about parents spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars for technical suits for their kids and stuff like that, and then they accompany their kids to the swim meets. Do you think then that it's right for the association or for clubs to request or ask parents to contribute to pay the coaches, aside from your monthly or you know, fees? How do you feel about coaches or even the association asking parents to contribute for national teams? So that, because sometimes coaches go unpaid. How do you feel about that? Being asked to pay, how do you feel?
Well, you have two responses to that. It is what it is now, which is that parents are asked to provide the support. And if it comes to a situation like that and you have to participate, well, you have to do what you have to do.
Okay.
But my view is that I think that the association should take a much more proactive role in terms of being able to provide that kind of assistance, because these are people who are chosen by the organization and sent on a mission. Now, however it is therefore that the association may want to get support in terms of funding, they can get the parents to participate and to volunteer, which I'm sure that they would, or most of them would, maybe not all, but most of them, to participate in terms of how they might be able to raise funds for the association, so that the association can stand on its feet in terms of being able to give, take coaches and all the officials then. The officials.
So let me ask you, because sometimes, and I have been guilty of it too, when I was involved in swimming, sometimes we refer to the association as if it's a body on its own, and we are not the association. And the truth is, the association, we are the association, the parents are. So when we speak of the association, well, as if the association needs to do that and da. No, and I'm not saying that to you, because I'm saying I too have been guilty of making those references. But we have to come into an awareness and understand that we are the association. So if there's a need for funding, and you want your kids to be on a national team, or you want the coaches, then Elliot could do that. Elliot could take up Amanda can decide to do that. Bertram can decide to be a part of it. So I just want us to change the dialogue when we say the association, because we kind of taking ourselves out of it, and not being a part of the whole community and becoming part of a partnership. So I think I'm gonna take it to Amanda and ask her how she feels about that as well. In terms of the funding, and how should if parents should be asked to pay towards coaches' expenses when they travel and stuff like that. How do you feel?
So you're right, Cindy. I mean, this is our association. We are members of this association. We contribute to this association. For me, as it relates to parents having to fund coaches, I think if you know that there are budgetary constraints, if you know that for some reason the ministry has opted not to fund a particular team going, and the circumstance is that we have one or two coaches that funding is not available. To me, it really starts with communication. So communicate. Talk with the parents. Let them know that this is happening. This is why this is happening. Let us try to meet at a half point. How can we make this happen? Because at the end of the day, we need to have coaches. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it's a partnership. I keep using the word collaboration. Yeah. I mean, a team cannot go forward without coaches. Then basically, I mean, unless you have a parent coach, and know where we could go with that. So I don't have a problem in assisting in the offsetting of coaches' expenses. Right. But I think that one, it must be very transparent and clear in my budget viewing. What am I paying for? How many coaches am I paying for? Am I paying for the coach travel? Am I paying for the coach accommodation? Right. So again, this is our association. I mean, transparency. We're not here to find all the negatives. I mean, we want to find something positive to go forward. And if a coach is part of a team and funding is not available, and okay, the ministry is unable, and again, our association says they don't have fund. While I'm not saying that it's right, but at the same time, we have to have different conversations then. We have to come very clear. We have to be very transparent. We have to be able to show budgets. Why am I paying for this? What am I paying for? I think for me, that's how I feel about coaches, us having to pay for coaches.
Okay. And Bertram, you heard the question. It's really about, how do you feel about parents being asked to contribute or pay or offset expenses for coaches and stuff like that. How do you feel about that?
I'm not hearing Bertram.
Yeah, Bertram, we're not hearing you. We lost audio. Okay, there's
You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that aspect of it. I think in terms of when you're saying pay, I'm saying salary. There's nothing wrong with the parents spending that aspect of money on their kids. In terms of stipend for the coaches that go on those trips, I think that should be solely the responsibility of the ASAT. Solely the responsibility for ASAT. In terms of going now as a team to go on a foreign meet, that should be the responsibility of the parents. So yes, we can take the 40 members of the team, we can divide the cost, and the team, which includes the coach and the managers and the chaperone, that combines and makes up the team, that cost should be borne by the team. But in terms of the stipend for the coaches, what you refer to as a pay, that should be done, that should come through ASAT. And ASAT should raise that from a fundraiser, and that fundraiser should come from the collection of all the clubs, which should put their effort behind that, so the ASAT in turn could come as a viable entity.
So okay, and again, coming back to kind of separating ASAT from us. So when you say that's for ASAT, and that really is for the parent, the swim body. So and raising funds doesn't have to come into your pocket, Bertram. Because doesn't have to be Bertram dipping in his pocket. You can assist by seeking sponsorship from somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So all right. So that's why when everything starts in swimming, everything's supposed to start at the club level. The club level is where you're supposed to learn all these things. So in terms of sponsorship, in terms of your work, I see people go on the national team and they want to start at the national team. You're really supposed to start at the level of your club. So in your club, you would learn all these functions in terms of what is required for sponsorship and stuff like that. So within your club community, part of the function in your club will be in terms of raising funds, because your club would need this, your club would need that. But at the bigger level now, where we're talking about ASAT, ASAT has bills that you refer to as common costs. Common costs, a team is traveling, so that where we know that we have 2 teams traveling a year and stuff like that, what we do is that we go and beg. What I suppose the association do, the association go and beg. That particular aspect is going to be changing. So I'm saying that what we should do collectively, where they should have a collective fundraising at some point in time, not for a club, but now we're talking about where it is administered by the ASAT, and where it is that I drive and funds from that could use for offsetting costs, like things like coaches and stuff like that. We could use that particular cost for the common thing of the club.
Okay,
common
so that's
what I would say.
Okay, so are you then in favor of, because Mark mentioned it, I think I saw somebody mentioned it, and it's also one of the questions I have to ask. Are you in favor of a parent association? And if you are you prepared to head the association, to be the president and the charge of it? Rally the parents and sort this thing out, boy, Bertram?
No, I'm not prepared to be the president of no association. But I do think that parents do need a voice. They do need to be at the place where decision making is done. So you can also get the input from parents. Now again, just like you have a PTA, you will have a PTA who would sit on a board, and that they will bring that input of what is happening at that level, the level of the parents, where you could use that information. And in other words, you're bringing information to the board, so when time comes for
favor of a parent association. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Elliot, you are as well?
Yeah, I am. I'm in favor of having a parents association. I think it is that should be a relationship should be written in the constitution in terms of how that is managed with the association, so that the parents association would be able to have the ability to vote on matters, on issues that arise. simply because if it is that you don't have that kind of relationship, then all you will be is just an activist on the board, and you want to be able to be involved in terms of being making decisions, voting one way or the other, as the case might be. Of course, the parent association will have its own rules or regulations that will govern how it's managed, but the
So we can get into all of that once you, because I'm going to make it official tonight, Elliot. You are the president of the Parent Association, and you said, oh, joke, kidding, relax. I mean, it's very fun, but I just saw it and see it now, because you're young and you're fresh and you're vibrant. You know what I mean? You're now coming in, you're the prince in the group. I think you will charge this. You're taking the lead here. So let me ask you, because we have to start wrapping up very quickly, just a yes or no. Amanda, do you think national swim team training, do you think mandatory or voluntary?
Mandatory.
Bertram.
That question really does not come, shouldn't come to really parents. Why I would say that? Hold on. As a parent, I would say yes.
Okay, but I wouldn't ask you as something else because I don't know what else you have as a parent. So I'll say, Elliot, mandatory or voluntary?
National training, as far as I am concerned, is mandatory.
Right.
I do not.
You're outnumbered.
If I could just add one thing on that.
Oh, good.
This is one of the things that shocked me inside of swimming, which is that the first national training that I had to go to, and I saw and heard that some parents were told by coaches not to send their children to the swimming, and it's like how.
But that's for that topic you started. That is for next. We have a next segment.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
Tonight. Yeah.
I was just about to say that's another 2 hours.
Yeah, but
my apologies.
I'll email you when we start a new segment called Bacchanalia, and you'll spearhead that one too, okay? Thanks. So real quick now, I just want to ask you guys, name 3 positive things that your family has benefited from because of swimming. Just 3 things. Amanda, let's start with you.
Family togetherness, engagement. I mean, I would say we have all learned to, get up early, self-discipline. And for me, one of the major takeaways is healthy cooking and nutrition.
I like that. Bertram, 3 positive things that swimming has helped with.
Okay. I would say friendship. I've gotten a lot of good friends along the road. Amanda and I go back a long time. Elliot and all, we all passed the teams together. I will also say travel, because traveling the Caribbean and seeing all these wonderful ideas. Today, a friend of mine called me from Peru to tell me how things was going across there. So it means that was a fantastic. I love the travel. And the other one is commitment to hard work. This thing is not easy. It's not easy. When it is you watch your child get up in the morning to go and train and do these things, you could only make the sign of the cross. Because your child can be someone else.
So you get 3 positive things. I love that. Elliot, 3 things.
Actually, I want to endorse 2 of the things that Mr. Blackman said, which is that the travel. The travel as well as the friends.
Yeah.
I've certainly been exposed to a lot of parents, and the camaraderie has been very great. Particularly when we go out there, it has been very good. Other thing too is the personal discipline that it has brought to the household, and in borrowing what Amanda said.
Yeah.
The personal discipline in terms of how you eat, when you eat, and that sort of thing. So it's only 3 acts for, so I'll still do.
Yeah. I like that. I love that. You see, Elliot, I love that. That's nice. But I know there, I mean, we could count maybe to 100, you know, because my son swam for years, and I mean, there are lots of positive things that come out of it. So, final word as we leave. What, Elliot? I'll start with you. What advice do you have for the association to improve the atmosphere of the aquatic family and community?
Well,
briefly, a brief.
How much time I have?
Well, like 10 more seconds. The time you take a laugh and thing, you lose.
I think that in order for the association to really come together, you really need leadership, and you need that leadership to envision. So what we're looking at is in terms of a system or a structure by which is that the information can flow from the top straight down to the individual members, and individual members not meaning the clubs, but down to the parents or the fringes in that sense, so that people can be aware and people can be motivated or inspired to act in concert with whatever decisions are taking place, because too many times you have a communication gap, and this creates that absence of communication creates all kind of opportunities for things to come in, and all kind of agendas to be played out.
So you are saying maybe like a newsletter. So we could pen that down, and like a newsletter, maybe a monthly newsletter is a good way to go forward. Maybe.
No, a newsletter is, you see, what I'm looking at is more a system of governance that regulates how information is transferred from the executive to the membership, and the membership is not stopping at the level of the club level. You have to go down to the granular level where you actually talk to the parents, and if you have that system, then you can certainly allow a concerted effort to take place in terms of whatever the organization wants to get involved in.
Okay. Noted. Bertram?
So in a nutshell, I would say ASAT need to communicate effectively, and their communication should reach the level of the parent. So ASAT at this point in time, ASAT communicates to clubs. Yeah, ASAT communicates to clubs. ASAT need to find a way to start to be able to communicate from ASAT to parents. Because there are times I have seen where what the parent know is different to what ASAT. There's a missing link. There's a missing link.
Okay. Well,
also, I would say that ASAT need to have a 2 to 5 to 10 year plan. You need to be looking at that.
Okay.
Director to push your 2 to 5 to 10 year plan, because these kids and them all are getting older and time passing. So I would say that.
All right. Thank you. Amanda?
I think for me, we definitely need to involve more of corporate TNT. To this date, there are many organizations in Trinidad that don't even know much about where the aquatic center is. So marketing will be a factor for me that I would want to encourage marketing. I mean, for me, swimming is an international sport with great potential. And I think that what I would like to see throughout this association is let us walk the talk of the love for the sport. That will be my closing words.
Okay. For me, I like that, not that anybody asked, but I just figure I'll say it. That I like that the book that Gordon spoke about, that book concerning the history and stuff like that. And I really hope coming out of this series that we get, like Amanda said, we get corporate to recognize that there is a need for sponsorship, and that they step up and step in, and also for ex-swimmers or ex-swim parents to adopt a swimmer or mentor a swimmer or something like that, that some sort of mentorship program or something comes out of this. So so this is it, guys. Our parents' night has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun too.
It has been fun.
I wanted to
Amanda, did you see that comment by Mark Rivers?
No, I did not. What was the comment?
He says, Amanda, go up for ASAT election, please.
Oh my goodness. So guys, we have to go. I just want to say that I am Sous Chef Cindy-Ann, and you can find me on Facebook, Movelang Cindy-Ann, or on Instagram. And the only stroke that you can have with your toast bread, my friends, is the butterfly. All right? So good night and stay safe. Back
all the best.
Thank
you.
Thanks a lot.
All the best,
right,
everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What did Cindy cook for you?
Well,
All right, Cindy, okay, you can stop. You're gonna
Before I go, I want you all to remember that the only stroke to use with toast bread is the butterfly.